Okay, it looks like it's back. Hey, I'm back. I think. Oh my god. My internet is horrible. It's just terrible. So, let's see. Is this working? It says there I'm live, but I don't see any feed there. Online again. Okay. Hey. Okay, I'm seeing with high definition while I'm grabbing my my nose. So I want to think that that's good. Okay, so well done. It's smooth now, man. Okay, so glad. Okay, so really quickly, I'll try to go. I'm actually no, I'm not going to be that quick. I'm going to take my time. Okay, we're taking our time. It's Sunday. Slow down. And I'm going to walk you through some of my process when creating an animated GIF. And by the way, I'm not going. This is not going to be available later. So you're this is it. Okay, this is not going to be recorded. So you are special. You watching right now. It shows used to be like that. Like you would watch something on the TV, and then that was it. You will have to wait to buy the DVD, or well, not even the DVD back then. It was like the cassette. But like, if you didn't watch an episode of something of a show that you really liked, that was it. Unless you recorded it with a VHS or something. But there was no like next day, let's watch it on YouTube, or let's see who recorded it. Like no, that was it. You had to be there. So today you are here. Okay, you're special. It's old school. We're keeping it old school, but with the high technology of live streaming on YouTube. So okay, so speaking of high technology, I want to show you a little bit of how I used. Here it is, 3 at night. Okay, well. Thank you so much for Hyper Crash for being over there at 3 at night. Um, okay, so I'm going to show you real quickly. Let me just transition to over here so you can see my screen. Okay, so here I'm in Photoshop and I'm using my Cintiq, and I'm going to put something else here because this is really distracting. There you go. So as you can see here, I'm using a Cintiq, and let me just see. Yeah, you can see the Cintiq. Yeah, there you go. Um, and on the Cintiq, I use it for just like drawing anything by hand, and you can create really cool stuff like this with Photoshop using the timeline feature. So I'm just going to walk you through my process when I create one of these like doodle cartoons. Let me show you another one that I created, and I'm actually creating this for a little app that I'm working on, and all the app it's just it's different doodles while explaining yoga positions. I know, super random. I hope to have this ready by next week, and I'll probably share it with you. And let me just show you some of the actually some of those things too. So, for example, it's showing different poses. And each pose is like with an animated GIF. So as you can see here, it's one of them. That's a character. There's a share pose, and this share pose is only 2 frames. Another one is like cat, and this one is like using. It's also like 2 frames that is repeated throughout time, and then I export this as a video. This is British pose, and apparently this should be forever. There you go. Anyway, that's just a sneak peek on something that I'm working on. But I was thinking, you know what? It would be cool to make one of these illustrations that I'm actually going to use on the app, but walk you through my process while I'm creating these illustrations. Um, oh yeah, beta testers, Braxton. I might need some beta testers later. So yeah, I'll actually probably at the end. If you stay until the end, I'll add a link to the actual. There's something out there, but it's just like it's not finished, it's just a draft, but somebody could probably use it for how it is looking. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to, today I'm going to create this character breathing. So it's going to be like, because it's kind of like on the breaks of each on each position. I'm putting a little break of like 2 seconds on each position on the yoga positions, and one of them is going to be saying like, "Hey, let's take a break and breathe." So I want to create the character just breathing. So. So I'm going to. I actually already put one that is a break breathe. So I have my character here in one of the frames. As you can see, this is in one layer. And I'm going to use it as a template. But the idea here is that how I create animations is by creating multiple frames of a drawing, and each drawing is drawn. And it moves a little bit. It's kind of like old school animation where every frame is drawn. So I'm pretty much doing the same. But every frame that I draw is not, it's very different from one another. Like my line weights are totally different, and they're not really well aligned. And it creates this effect where, let me show you this one, for example. So it creates this effect of where it looks like the lines are moving all over the place because I'm not that great of a drawer. So, but still, you can use that as an advantage and actually make it look like, no, well, I meant to be look like that. It kind of makes the drawing feel alive. So it's kind of like the style here that I'm going with. So each frame I draw it, and sometimes I just draw the same frame. I draw it again. It's the same position, is the same thing, but I just draw it again, and then it creates a little bit of difference from one frame to the other, and it creates that little movement. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to close this. And when you're breathing, I want her to like open her mouth and then probably open her eyes. I don't know if she should open her eyes when she's breathing in. Yeah, let's open her eyes. And then probably closes her eyes and then does this with her mouth. Her mouth is just like, I don't know, turns a little bit smaller, and then probably air is coming out of her mouth. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's do the first thing. I'm going to use this as a template. This drawing, I'm grabbing it from another animation, and that way all of the I'm using her as a template, and I'm just going to draw on top of it. So first thing, I actually put the opacity at 20%, and I create a new layer, and this layer is where I'm going to draw. So I'm going to actually use the color that I'm actually using. This is the color that I'm using for my drawings. So there you go. And now I'm ready. And let me show you real quick what brush I'm using. And it's pretty much just a normal brush. So this brush is, let me open the brush settings. There you go. So the brush is just a regular brush, just a rounded brush that I added a little bit of shape dynamics by putting the size that is being controlled by pen pressure. So, and I put it at 3%. That way it gives me this range where if I put a little bit, it's pressure sensitive. So if I just do a little bit of like not a lot of pressure on my pen, it just like draws a really thin line. But then if I start putting a little bit more pressure on it, then it starts making the line a little bit wider. And then if I put a lot of pressure, then it makes it really thick. So I really like that because it gives me a lot of range on how I can draw my lines. Sometimes I will go like this, and then wow, it goes like super wide. So I do that, and I also just put a little bit of smoothing, just turn this on, and that's all I do. I don't get really fancy with my brushes. You can put a little bit of scattering and texture, but since this one is just, I want it to look like a marker, I just use like the default one on black, and then I just start drawing. So there you go. That was just like how I create my brush, and I just keep my brushes here, and that's the one that I use almost always. So okay, so that's my brush. Let's just start drawing on top of this. So I'm going to draw this character again, and probably I'm going to start in when she's breathing out. So there you go. Let's so when she's breathing, no, when she's breathing in, so she has her mouth open. So let's keep her eyes closed. Well, let's keep her eyes closed when she's breathing in. What do you think? And she's doing like this, and then like her eyes are closed like this, her eyelids. I only draw her eyelids, and probably her. Let's make her her mouth. That way she's like breathing in. Let's paint inside of it, and then let's. I'm going to make her face a little bit thinner because since it's when you know, like when you stretch your mouth, your I don't know what you call this, your face, the sides of your face just get a little bit thinner. So that's why her sides are a little bit thinner too. So just like that, and then probably she's even. You know what? I'm actually going to do this, where the neck and her face almost like blend in because she's like doing this from above, just like that. There you go. And there's always a lot of just like I will do this and then I don't like it, so I Command Z. I don't like it, Command Z until I really like it, and just like that. So you will see that I draw the lines a lot of times until I got a line that I really like. There you go. So now she's breathing in. I'm going to move her a little bit higher, just like that. That way, she's going to be a little bit higher when she's breathing in. She's just like that. There you go. Just and then I'm going to turn this off so I can draw on top of it. There you go. Oh, I'm realizing that it's probably too high because the drawing is going out of the it's going outside the bounds. There you go. Okay, that's perfect. So now I'm going to paint all of this, and that's part of this thing where when you're painting by hand, you really do everything by hand. That's I don't take a lot of shortcuts. I will take a shortcut right here because it's just a one color, so I'm just going to use the paint bucket and just paint this. But something that I don't really like when I use the paint bucket is that it creates those white lines. I don't know if you can see them here. The resolution is good enough, but it creates those things because the tolerance is the 30%, but it's still with the anti-alias, it will create those things. So I will have to always, whenever I use that, I'll have to paint on top of it again this line. And I could probably like paint again. Let me just like if I paint again, it gets rid of those lines. But I don't know if you can see, but here on the borders, let me zoom in. So let me Command Z, and then Command C, and you see how the borders like get really I don't know, like all pixelated. It's because oh my god, there you go. I don't know, it gets rid of all that smoothness on the edges. So I don't really like doing that. So I will have to like paint it again, which is kind of annoying. Sometimes I feel like it would have probably even be the same if I had just painted it by hand everything and not just use the the paint tool, the paint bucket tool. I'm going to close this so I have more space. There you go. We have our first frame. This is our first frame. Now I'm going to draw this again. So this one is going to be a little bit the opacity, just going to put it lower so I can trace it on the next frame. So I'm going to draw it again. There's a white spot on the hair. Let me see. Where's the white spot? Somebody's saying that there's a white spot. I suppose here. I mean, it's okay if it's not totally perfect, you know. Sometimes it's okay if you leave some some mistakes, but thank you for pointing out that mistake. Okay, cool. So let me zoom out, zoom in. Let me draw this again. Yeah, it's really boring. It's kind of boring when you have to draw this again, but I don't know. I enjoy it. You learn to really like and painting stuff and just doing everything by hand. I You forget that how I don't know how soothing this can be, and how relaxing it can be to just like do stuff with your hands. When you're used to, at least I'm used to just like creating rectangles and adding text layers all day at work when as a product designer. So let's make her eyebrows even a little bit like higher. So doing this kind of stuff sometimes is good because I don't know, it takes you out of what you usually do at work. This is what I was telling you, where sometimes the draw line's a little bit different, but it's okay. It's okay if they're different. There you go. Let's give her mouth just pretty big. I'll turn the opacity down so I can see better what I'm painting. There you go. I'm going to paint it by hand instead of using the paint bucket. There you go. There were some spots there that I was missing. Her eyebrows are a little bit higher. It's looking good, I think. Let's test it out. Let's create a really quick animation of this uh, by going to Window, Timeline, and then here on the timeline, I already created a frame animation. So all I have to do is just turn on and off some of the frames. That's how you create animations on this. So I have the first frame is on. I'm going to create a new one and then turn that on and turn the other off. And then I'm going to put this as forever here on the options instead of once. Once is the default. I change it to forever on how many times it plays, and it's just doing. Now it's doing like the I don't know, the eyebrows thing, just like doing, hey, what's up? So I like this. I want to actually redraw this one. This you're probably thinking, oh my God, actually you do this every time, and yes, you do this every time. You have to like draw this multiple times, and this helps you think about your life, of your career choices, about are you happy, are you not. I think drawing the same drawing multiple times sometimes can be therapeutic, terapeutico. I don't know how to say it in English. Whenever there's a word in English that sounds very similar to Spanish, to my native language, I have the harder time because my brain wants to say that word how it sounds in Spanish. I don't know if there are any people that speak two languages. Does that happen to you? Where wherever you're, let's say that English is not your first language, so there's a word that is really similar to your native language in English. And whenever you want to say it in English, your brain pronounces it how you pronounce it in your native language instead of how it's pronounced in English. So, and your brain has a hard time like differentiating one from the other. You can say a lot of words, pronunciate them correctly because English and your native language, that those words are totally different. So your brain doesn't have to make a decision between which one it's going to pronounce. But whenever there's a word that is almost the same, but the pronunciation is different, then your brain goes to the default. At least that's what happens to me. My my brain says, let's say theater, therapy, oh my God, terapéutico. That's how you say it in Spanish, but I cannot say it in English. Therapeutic. Oh my God, it's so bad. The worst thing is that the irony on this, that is just like even stressing me out how trying to say that. Terapéutico. You know what I'm saying, right? And sometimes some people find that funny whenever I say words that are obviously really the pronunciation of how I tell them that it's just like all wrong, and I just keep going. That's what you have to do, right? You just have to pretend that everything's okay. Yes, that's how I pronounce that word, and whatever. You have to own it, I guess. Okay, so we create another frame. So let's see, let's test it out. So we have our first frame, and then we go to the second frame, and then we hold the position there. So, and then we can create, let's see how it looks. I'm going to duplicate these. So now my animation has 5 frames. So I'm going to play it. It goes up, and it stays up a little bit. See how I like that it's just like really subtle. Her eyebrows are going up. So it's here, and then it goes up, and then they stay up. That's those little subtle changes from one and to the other. It's what will make your animation pretty cool. Okay, so we have when she's breathing in, we have with her mouth open. Now let's make her where she goes down, her face goes down, and her mouth like kind of closes, but and she's like the air is coming out of it. So the mouth should get smaller, and then also probably let's see if we can open her eyes. Let's see what happens if we open her eyes, and then her head like gets a little bit lower. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So I suppose it's going to be something like this actually. So I can use this as a template. I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to go here and I don't know how it will look. Let's see if it looks good like that. And then, yeah. Let's see this. I want her eyes around here. Yeah, let's turn that off. Now, I want her to be even more pronounced, the sides. See how the sides are super pronounced, like coming out, because she's like blowing and she's like coming down. And I'm actually going to move it a little bit. One, yeah, there you go. Let's see what happens. Hopefully it's good. No, hold on. Now I'm going to finish this just like that, and then I'm going to move it later. Let's see if needs to be moved. There you go. Let's keep drawing this. Let's finish it, and we're gonna have a result really quickly. Look at that. So yeah. Sometimes this is part of the work. Just drawing, same drawing, multiple times, and until you got the result that you wanted. And that's life sometimes. You got to be patient, right? To get exactly what you want. Sometimes you want to go fast and you want to get to the other side as soon as possible. But if you want the best result, sometimes you just got to take your time, and you're still gonna get to the other side, you know? So it's okay if you take your time sometimes. It's okay because that's something that I've been learning a little bit, because I come from I suppose from a work culture where you always have to be super fast, like do it fast now. I mean, at least I've been working on print stuff. I remember it was always due yesterday, you know? Like whatever project you were working on, it should have been done yesterday. and and you have to be super fast. Anyway, okay, cool. Let's create our animation again. So let's start like this. Let's actually start from her breathing in. Breathing out, and then going up. Going up. She's taking a little bit of air. Let's duplicate this, and then let's create a new one where she's coming down, and then she's blowing. And then let's make this turn 1 second just so we can see. Oh, there you go. I think it's good. I think I like it. I'm liking this. Let's make duplicate this that frame where she's breathing out. Let's make another version of that too, and that way we'll have our breathing out animation ready. Okay. So by the way, if you have any questions, leave them on the comments, and I'll try to do my best to answer your questions. I see that there are some people here. Not a lot of people, I know. It's Sunday. It's a weird time, and I suppose this is kind of boring, just seeing me doing this thing over and over on Photoshop. Um, okay, so let's do this one, and I'm thinking of adding like a couple of lines that mimic air that are coming out of her mouth. We'll see if that helps. Like create the illusion of air that she's breathing out. And I'm going to actually do that in different layers. That way I don't have to, oh man, let me just turn off the notifications here. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to add a couple of layers that are going to mimic air. Just a couple of lines, and probably that will help create the illusion of her, the character, just like breathing out and exhaling air. That should be good. Yes. Almost finished, guys. Almost there. There you go. Now we have 2 frames. I think it's gonna look good. Let's create another layer. Let's see. Does that look good? Oh, you know what? Like this. Is that dumb? That's kind of dumb, huh? Let's try it out. And then another one where probably there you go. So this is one. Let's move this a little bit so it's not on her. There you go. This is probably not gonna work, but let's try it out, okay? So okay, so let's just start with her smiling. That's going to be our first one. Why not? Just make her smile first. And then we go to her breathing in. And then let's go over this loop where she's taking air inside. And then where she goes down. So on this one, she's going down and she's exhaling. So she's blowing air. Let's do another one, and let's turn this on. And let's do another one and turn this on and turn this off. Let's see. And then let's do another one where this is on and this is off and this is off. And then let's do another one where this is on, this is off, and then this is on. And another one. You get what I'm saying, right? Oh man. Okay, let's try it out. She's smiling and I'm going to remove the one where she's smiling. I think it should start like this. Look at that. It's pretty cool. Probably it's kind of funny how she how the air is coming out of her mouth. It could be hair or it could be it could be air or it could be hair. I don't know, but it creates the illusion, right? So yes, the question is if I'm using a Wacom, a Wacom. So yeah, it's a Wacom, but it's Cintiq. that's the name of this Wacom. It's different from the Intuos, because the Intuos, or I don't know what they're called now, but those ones usually the tablet is here and then the screen is over here. So you're drawing here, and then but the content is over here. Here it's more of a tablet that is more like an iPad where you draw on top of the screen. So that makes the drawing way more feel more natural. Let me see if yeah. So over here you see the screen, and yeah, Intuos. Yeah, the Intuos. I could never get used to the Intuos. It felt really unnatural for me, to be honest. I could never get used to like drawing here and the screen over there. And the Cintiq, as soon as I got it, it felt really organic and really natural because it felt like I was drawing on paper. So for me, I fell in love as soon as I got this. And this one is really old. It's a 12-inch one, and I got it in I think 2012, and I've been having this for a long time, and I love it. I love it. I haven't upgraded. There's a 13-inch one and there's another one. I never upgraded, and I've been using this for the longest time. And now the only upgrade that I have is an iPad Pro, and that thing is amazing. The iPad Pro is really cool. Anyway, yeah. So that's my process to creating this kind of stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope. I don't know. Sometimes it's cool to do this kind of things that are a little bit different. At least for me, they are different. I spend most of my time creating websites and mobile apps and stuff like that, and it's okay. I'm not complaining. It's cool, but I sometimes feel like it's too limiting on the stuff that you can do on it. Well, no, it's not that. It's more like I want to do something else, and so it's good to take a break and do these kind of things. Um, so yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Do you have any questions? Any other questions? Braxton, Rajan, where are you guys coming from? Balasa, thank you. By the way, thank you so much for everyone that is here right now, and it took the time to do this. Let me just transition to this. Uh, Thank you so much for being here. I've been, I don't know, it's been it's been difficult to keep creating videos and working and just life in general and balancing all of those priorities. And but I have to say that I love doing this kind of stuff. I love doing the videos, and I think it's important too. So I will keep doing them. But sorry if sometimes I take a little bit longer than I wish. And that's why sometimes I will do a batch of videos like the Photoshop ones, and I would just like create 5 videos and publish them at once because I will take one weekend where I'm just doing that, and that way I get to feel like I have the week uh, uh, off, so I can use my time in other things that I want to that are also priorities. So that's why I sometimes do that, and and that's it. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the streaming. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Uh, I'm going to share this project that I'm working. This, by the way, this animation that we just did is part of a project. It's a yoga app. I know, super random. Uh, I'm going to, oh man, I'm going to show you my process on creating this app too because it's really interesting. Uh, I am actually coding, but not really coding, and it's a web app, and I'm using a thing called Hype, and I've been using Hype for the longest time, uh, Hype Pro, and it allows you to create like apps in HTML5, but it is like a visual editor where you can put animations, you can create interactions, and it has. But the cool thing about this is that you publish from it, and you can publish it on the web. You can put it on an app, and I've been using this for, I don't know, for probably for 4 years. I've been using this app, but I've been using it for prototyping because the coding that it gives you is not the greatest. So I've usually worked with other developers that are actually that are the ones that create the code. But for this project, I decided to do the whole thing, and use Hype has been actually helping me a lot to empower me to create all the interactions and all the behaviors and all the I don't know, the connections of this app, and also adding audio and video. I It's pretty cool. It's called Hype, by the way. I will share my process later with you guys, but for the moment, I can only tell you that it's pretty cool. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the streaming. And by the way, this is not going to be recorded. This is it. You watch this. This was one time. Thank you so much. Let me see if anyone on their website now. I'll check it out. Oh yeah, Rahan. Yes. So favorite design tools: Photoshop, Illustrator, Sketch. Those are my favorite design tools. Yeah. It's pretty. I mean, I'm old school, I guess. I don't. I mean, there are other prototyping tools that are great for prototyping for animations. Right now, I've been using a lot Flinto. That's that's my go-to for prototyping, uh, and also for uh, for actual code. I use Sublime. I love Sublime. Just like with all the plugins that you can use, you can just like write code on it, and it feels really natural. Um, what else? Oh yeah, and for actual publishing too, I use WordPress a lot, and I've been using a template, well, like a builder from Tobias Van Schneider, the one called Simplis or Simplice. And it's a great tool for building websites. By the way, it's awesome. It's meant originally to create portfolios. But I've been using it just for creating websites, and it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool because it gives you the freedom to create different layouts and create animations and publish it on WordPress. I love it. It's kind of expensive though. It's really expensive. Um, but if it merits, if you want to build a portfolio, I recommend using it. But in case you cannot code, I will use that. Or if you just want to do things fast and with good quality, I will recommend that. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys. Good night, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are at. Thank you for everyone that was here. Uh, Goodbye.